All right, folks, welcome back to another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on 269, Reflection 269, and today we're doing two of three of the book My Stroke of Insight by Jill
Pulte, I think. Yeah. So
Bolte
yeah.
Taylor. Yeah.
Yep. Uh
Um, so we had a long discussion yesterday, and so hopefully, today we can put it more in line with what we did last time. So
yeah.
what we got today?
Well, that was a fun conversation last night, honestly. Well, it's always fun, but that one felt like, really more a lot of fun because we hadn't talked for like a week because I was out, and just felt good to get back in the flow of things. So this one, just recapping the book, this is about this lady named Jill Bolte Taylor. She's a brain scientist, and she had a stroke. And she lost a massive stroke on the left side of her brain, so she lost all of her ability to do what the left side of your brain does, which is talk, linear communication, being connected to reality, goals, all those things that we do every single day, like completely just went out the window for her, and she was only living as what she called a fluid for eight, for many years, where she was just only on the right side of her brain, and just kind of in this connected universe, and like what she called basically like nirvana, like what Buddhists call, it's a ironically, like that's, she found nirvana. Like all you got to do is have a stroke, on the left side of your brain.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, you have to understand that that certain part of your brain is responsible for certain things.
Yeah.
If you have a stroke in the wrong side of the brain, the thing is, imagine you have a stroke that is affecting your right brain. You're gonna be in misery. It's like
Yeah.
you are like this. You're very
Robot.
you're more like this monotonous kind of person.
Yeah, it would be like a robot, basically. I mean, really. I mean, because it would
It
the
would bore
abstract,
you to death, and you
right.
can't do anything about it.
or you'd be in heaven because you're like, oh God, I get to do tasks all day long. All I got to do is do tasks.
No, I don't think anyone likes it though. I mean, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I was telling you yesterday that I'm heavily, left brain, dominant, right? Very
Yeah.
heavily. I don't like it,
Yeah.
even though that's my strength. This is how my that's what I made. That's what I do for a living, and I use that skills for a living. But I don't like it.
Right.
I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling of having things in order. Which, like the thing is, to a certain extent, I want order, right? For example, I told you, like, I mean, I told you that before, like, when you say, hey, let's go on a vacation, right? I got to plan everything out, figured out, where to go, what to do, imagining like I'll get there, do this, blah blah. Like you get through all those things, like you can have some kind of sense of control,
Right.
but at some point it becomes too much, right? And then to me, like I can tell you, a vacation to me is like work, which is extra work. It's
Yeah,
double work, right?
you're like shit. Now I got to organize stuff that I don't even know how to organize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
No,
so
I,
so
I feel you.
that so thing is the need or the want to be organized and to be meticulous to a certain extent is good, but overboard isn't. It creates this. I mean, like I told you, I went to a brick wall, and I said, "Well, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
I give up." Right? I just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I don't want to have to answer to anyone about deadlines, about goals, about this and that." It's like I get to the point where have had it, and
Yeah.
so like I said, yes, for the most part, I want to have control over my life, have control over my day, decides what. That's what I'm saying is for me. If you ask me to do something right now, right, I don't like it because
Hmm.
it breaks into the planning I had. So that's why I said, hey, if you want me to do something, give me a heads up, like 24 hours, because I can fit in. I can compensate for this and that. I
Right.
can move things around. But if you ask me, hey, whatever you do, drop it, do something else, right? To me, that has become it.
Like torture.
It is actually pretty
Yeah.
torture. It
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
it's a pet peeve of mine. That's why for me, I hate being late.
Right.
I hate it. That's the thing for I don't. It's a small thing for the people, but it's the biggest thing for me,
Right.
right? Because that's what I'm saying is because of that, it causes you to be I'm miserable. You say what affected misery. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I know that. I'm inflicting my own self with my own misery just because I say, well, what's the point of being 2 minutes late? Say, okay,
Right.
I'm sorry, but
Right.
I
Right.
can't. That's the thing is, the more I learn throughout this journey, the more I was able to cut off the kind of nip it in the bud whenever these things
Yeah.
happen. But before it's like I don't want to be. So for me, it's like if you say, hey, if the meeting is at 8 o'clock and at 7:55 you can't get in there, 7:55 you're late, right?
Right.
So that's the thing is that's the mantra that I subscribe to,
Yep.
and that's to me it's in a way, what I call now it's a bunch of BS. And who give a shit?
I mean, you're
Like who
right.
put
Like
a gun to
you're
your head
letting.
and say, "Well, why are you running for train?" But that's what I did. That's what I did,
Right.
and I did that like strictly. I mean, I was very good at it. I mean, the thing is, you have to understand. From I came here. I don't know when I maybe was 10 years old, right? I go to starting school in 6th grade to 12th grade. I have fucking perfect attendance.
That's pretty wild, honestly. I mean, like
Okay.
there was one
Eh,
person that I knew that did that in the school that I went to, and we were all like, "Whoa, that chick's never missed a day of school." Like, I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, I mean, she's never been sick. She never had an emergency come up. I'm like, how is this fucking possible?
exactly. Because
Uh,
that tells you how much anal I am about
right. Yeah. I
being
mean, yeah.
ridiculous. And that sucks. Okay.
Right.
That's the thing is I did it, but that sucks. I
Right.
don't know if anybody can understand what I'm saying, but it's hard to describe it, but it sucks. So if you were to lose the right brain of yours and all you have to do is the left brain, all the logic stuff, you will become so bored and so monotonous that you're gonna die from boredom.
I mean, you're probably right. It's funny you're talking about traveling and how that can be like feel like torturous to you. Like obviously, like I just came back from a vacation, and like the way that I travel is I'm like in oblivion world. Like I'm just wandering around, like looking at everything, like taking it all in, and I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll just figure it out when we get there. Like my wife is way more into your camp where she's like, I got to know, I have everything coordinated and whatever. And I'm like, fine, you do what you want to do. I don't really care. I'll just show up. Like I'll
But
figure
that's
out a
but that's
ride.
a
I'll
problem. That's a
figure out
problem
where
though,
we go to
because then
dinner.
when that's what I say is when I go on vacation, it's double work because it, at
You gotta
least
have it
at
planned
the
out.
at the at the work, right? Most of what I plan out, like 90% of them comes true, right? I
Right.
did
Right.
this, I did that. Okay, when you go on vacation,
Yeah, yeah,
less
you
than
don't
fifty
know. Yeah.
percent of chance, like
Right.
maybe 30% of the time, and so you're in this like completely strange world, and
Right.
you can't have
You're just
control
you're
over
just you're just
anything.
you're just wandering. Like I mean, really, you're just wandering, and you're trying to figure out like where you are and like what to do and like how to enjoy and take it all in. It's for me. It's when I'm traveling. It's more I like look at the castle all day long. I'm just like looking at the castle all day long. As a matter of fact, like I barely even look at the spoon. I forget that there's even a spoon there when I'm on vacation. It could be a bad thing sometimes. Where like my
Right,
wife,
but
no
the thing
joke,
is
is
that
like
the
is
spoon,
like
the spoon is like, for example, for me, it's like vacation safety, where things are, where should it go, what are the probability of things gonna happen? Like,
right.
let's say you lose the luggage. Well, what is the worst thing gonna happen if you go and you lost a passport? For example, for me, if I go onto anything outside the country, I have 3 sets of passport copies of paperwork.
Are you
Okay,
really?
yes, like 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 physically,
That's intense.
digitally, on the locally and on the cloud. Like, so the thing is, this is what I'm talking
That's
about,
smart though.
the logic, right? The logic. So sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
It's enough to be, yeah,
It was it was hard enough for me to remember to put it in the
but
safe when we were
see,
at the
most
the
people
place where I'm like,
even
oh, it's in
forget
the
their
safe.
passport, right?
I
For
know
me, is
I
I don't even forget the copies of the
this
copies.
this one time I traveled I mean I travel pretty regularly for like work and whatever and like vacation and stuff like that and I remember this one time recently. I totally forgot I was flying domestic. I totally forgot my license. Like I just didn't even have my license with me, you know. And I was like, I get to the lady, you know, to takes your, you know, your scans your boarding pass and takes my license. And she's like, can I have your license? And I'm looking for it. I'm like, oh shit, where's my license? I was like, what do I do? And she was like, well, there's a little known fact that you can board a flight without a license. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? She's like, well, you have to submit to a full on pat down and you know, somewhere, you know, like where they're gonna like basically molest you. Are you okay with that? And I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess it's fine. You know, like, I was like, I don't have another option at this point in time. But I was like, but you know, this is when you learn. So for me, okay, like this is where it's fun for me. This is when I get to be my trash panda, my mapache, right? Like self, where I'm like, you know, where like for instance, my wife went to the zoo on Sunday before we left 2 Sundays ago to go hang out with our old nanny Kiara and her new child, and I had a tennis match in the morning, so I was gonna meet them at the zoo. But like around like, you know, 11:30 or noon or whenever my match was over. So I get to the zoo, and by that point in time, the zoo is packed, right? You know, and they have like this overflow lot that's like 15 minutes away, and you got to go like take a fucking, you know, bus back because the main parking lot's now full. So they were putting up cones as I pulled in, and like this is when like raccoon brain kicks in, where I'm like, you know, what do I do now? So I just went up to the guy, rolled down my window, and I was like, hey, I gotta go pick somebody up actually, you know, at the front gate. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you can go through. And I'm like, yes, you know, so then I you know, get to the I just figure out my way through things is my point. Like, I mean, I like whenever problems present themselves to me when they arise in the world, like I don't plan on anything usually. I'm like, we're gonna go here, and that's where I'm going, and then I just adjust as things happen, you know.
So the thing is that's the thing is most people. So the thing is you have to understand that it's not that you can't do what I do and I can't do what you do. It's just that
I don't like to do what you're doing.
Is the yes, exactly. It's do you prefer this or do that? Because it's not that you can't find a solution. It's like I would prefer not to do it. Just like for example, for me, it's like if I have a choice between to lie to you and to tell you the truth, I don't care if it hurts or not. I will tell you the truth. I don't even. I mean, the thing is, I can choose to say, hey, you know, maybe I let Chris down, you know, softly and not give him like, you know, rip the band-aid off of the thing. I would just go straight to you and say, hey, pow, here you go, Chris. I mean, the thing is, and it's not that I can't say, okay, if I try, I can go and be gentle with you and let you down slowly, and you know, whatever it is. Is that as a preference of how you feel about what you do, right? That causes the misery, that causes the anxiety, because it is in your the element. So inside of that element, you are actually expending energy and not you know, you gaining energy. Just like we're talking about eating a cake versus the frog, right? To like whatever animal that eats frogs, they don't want to eat the cake. The cake is like, yeah, it's just yucky
I
food.
don't want it planned out. Like that's eating the frog for me is having it fully planned out, because then it takes away all the spontaneity of travel, like of stumbling upon an amazing like little restaurant, hole in the wall restaurant after you've been wandering around the city all day long, or like, you know, learning the cities that you're going to, or you know, problem solving when the parking lot's full or whatever. Like for me, like that's the fun of the journey for me. Like I don't want like
because some people energized by certain feelings, right? And that's what I'm saying is that the feeling is different depending on different people. But so the point of all this, go back to the original, like you can be 80%, but 100% of anything, I don't care who you are, it is completely bad, right? Okay. Even if you're like very heavily,
I can't not plan at all. Like, I mean, I have to have like
exactly
right. Like I got to do the basic level of planning before for a trip, and then
so,
from there.
So like, 80-20, you know, maximum, but you have to be like, you know, 50-50, preferably 50-50, right? But some people are 80-20, but at least you have to have the 20 that kind of keeps you sane. Otherwise, you go insane from doing the same fucking thing over and over again. So for you, like you have to plan. Oh, I'm going on a trip, right? So you kind of like, hey, on a high level, I got the
generalities.
I go in that direction. I'm going there, blah blah, right?
Like, you know, and then we'll figure it out from there. Like, you know, like I'm not gonna like set up the whole entire day and
Right.
what,
So hey, I
right,
gotta send Luca to grandparents. I'm not like,
right.
oh, I completely forgot about Luca.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I know that there's things that need to get done, and I get
Twenty
those things
percent. That's what I
done.
say.
Right. Yeah.
20%. Like even
Right.
if you're on the extremity, you can only max out at 80%. You can't take the 100%. The 20% that needs to be there has to be there, because otherwise, I don't know. They're gonna put you
Yeah.
in an asylum just because
Well, it's balance, right? Like it all
you
goes
have
back to
no
balance, right?
responsibility. Say, hey,
Yeah.
what's talking about with you? You left your kid by himself. You're supposed to take him to your parents. Oh,
Right.
did you even ask? Right? I just dropped him off. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Chris? You didn't tell
You
me
can't
before.
just
So the thing
yeah.
is,
I got him for a week now. Like, what are you doing? No, I agree with you. I mean, you
I
got to
just
have a
found
balance.
out.
Definitely have to have some semblance of a balance. Otherwise, you're like, you're just
That's
you
why I
can't
say
so,
balance. At the end of the day, it's about balance. I think
yes,
balance, even for me as an extremity on the left brain, kind of style thing, I don't like it. I I tend to prefer more of a mix between, even though I was a extremely, like, like I told you, but as far as my level of like how I feel and how I like my feeling, right? I kind of like towards the 50-50 or
of course.
60-40, right?
I mean, yeah. No, I'm 1,000% with you, and that's what clubbing is all about, is balance. So, but here, all right, let me get to this reflection, because we technically haven't even covered it yet, but you kind of have, actually, a little bit. This reflection title for this one was "Own Your Power. Peace is only a thought away." So, I'll kind of skip some of the generalities of all this stuff, but emotions, right? Like, this is about emotions. According to Jill Bolte Taylor, she says and this is from her own studies, right? Like, of her, when she's bringing back online her left side of her brain, like emotions, are there for a reason. Like, we've talked about this at length in a lot of different other
Mm-hmm.
past reflections, right? Like, emotions are not a bad thing; they're just a signal, right? And a lot of times, there's that signal. This goes back to Seven Habits, and there's space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose, and all that good stuff. Well, with emotions, when they hit like your elephant, like, most of the time, it's not an urgent situation. Like, very rarely is there going to be a lion pouncing on you, or a tiger getting ready to, or a shark getting ready to bite you, or a car coming at you, or something like that. So, like, I would probably say 99.5% of the time of your life, like, whenever some emotion comes to you, it's probably not something that your elephant needs to instinctively act on, where you just need to let the emotion be the 100% driver, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the actual instinctual emotion, flee, fight, whatever, just like, take over, kind of thing, right? Like, and just let your elephant just automatically do what it needs to do. For every other emotion out there in this world, there's the space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose. And according to Jill, based on her research and based on her life and based on what she experienced, she was able to say emotions come and go within 90 seconds. So if you can experience an emotion and you can let 90 seconds pass by, like, you can literally, change your thought going forward, and just, peace is literally only a thought away. Is her sentiment. And I tend to agree with her at this point in time. Like, if you feel really, really frustrated, if you just took a breath for 90 seconds or something like that, and then came back to it, and we're like, okay, how do I want to process this emotion? Get your rider involved at that point in time, and, like, slow down a little bit or whatever, and help guide your elephant. Like, you can definitely do that and decide what that path is going forward. So it literally is only a thought away. And so much so, like, on this particular reflection, I told you yesterday, when I was finishing this book, I was down in Tampa, Florida, visiting one of my best friends, and it happened to be September. And September is when they start this thing called Hallow Scream at Busch Gardens. So, like, the theme park down in Tampa. And, like, I haven't been to a theme park in, I don't even know how long it's been. Like, I mean, honestly, I think the last time I went somewhere was, like, at Disney World in, like, 2007 or something like that, maybe, to, like, a theme park. So it's been a really, really long time, and I never do this with my friends. Like, when we go down there, like, so for whatever weird reason, they were like, "Hey, Hallow Scream is really cool. Like, you should." It's the first night. It was the opening weekend of it, because it was, like, early September, and they were like, "We should go check it out." Him and his wife was like, "Let's go," and I'm like, "Okay, fine, let's check it out." So we go down to this Hallow Scream, fest, and I had just finished this book, and I had just written this this reflection, or no, I hadn't written this reflection yet. I had just learned, you know, like this whole, you know, peace is only 90 seconds away, you know, kind of thing. And I was like, let's take this thing into like reality, right? Like I was like, let's test this thing out. So I went to a theme park on roller coasters, which I hate. I hate roller coasters. And they have all these different haunted houses set up all around Busch Gardens. That's what Howl-O-Scream is, right? They have like 10 different like really cool like haunted houses they build and they put up. So I'm gonna test this shit. I'm gonna test this shit out. Like, you know, of can I wait 90 seconds before, or like, you know, can I not let my elephant, you know, take over and try to stay calm like on a roller coaster in these haunted houses. And it was like comical. Like, I mean, I was trying to actively do this, right? So we would like walk into a haunted house and I would go, okay, Chris, like focus on your breathing, like, you know, like it's okay. I'm letting my rider tell my elephant everything, and then somebody would jump out from like some space, and I'm like, you know, and I'm not joking. And I would like laugh at myself, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing? All right, focus. Like I tried to do this in every single like fucking haunted house that we went through the entire night. Every roller coaster that we got on, I'm like going up, you know, you're hearing the clink, 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 clink as it's getting to the top. I'm like, okay, you got this. Like, just focus, you know, whatever. And as soon as we hit the first fucking like the hill, I'm like, you know, like, like, you know, like, you know, and like the funny thing is, it was the funniest experience ever because like this was like why amusement parks were so great, because we never let our elephant never really gets to instinctually act very often. We think it does, but like truthfully, it's probably, I mean, when was the last time you ever had to, and your elephant had to get an emotion, a stimulus that had to immediately react for you to feel like, you know, to protect yourself? Like, you know, like what was the last time that happened to you? Like, can you remember?
No, as far as I can tell, I don't. That's the emotion that I don't want to.
Exactly.
Uh,
What we're so
and
afraid of.
uh, the thing is, it's not that I'm afraid of it. I just don't want the emotion, because
Who
you think
does?
about
I mean,
like, because the thing is like, for example, me, I don't watch any scary movies. My wife, my kids loves it. Like, why are
right.
you watching it? Because it's scary. And
It's
then
scary.
like
Yeah.
when something happens at night, Dad, can you go? Can you go check it out?
Like I told you not to watch this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why are you calling me now? It's
Right. Right.
like, you want to be scared now. Now there's something outside. Now maybe some kind of wind, you know, with a tree trying to, you know, wrestling against something else, and it makes some noise, and you call me to come out and check it out and see if there's no burglars or whatever. It's like, why are you calling me then? It's like, this is the thing, is the emotions. I don't like haunted house. I don't like scary movies. It's not because I'm scared of it. It's just like, I don't like to evoke the emotions
Right.
just for the fun of it. I mean, I don't know why people do, but you know, obviously a lot of people loves it. You know, that's why haunted house and the screaming whatever is very popular, and like movies is like, you know,
I
horror
mean,
movies. Like Stephen King's is making a name for himself writing, you know, horror stories and whatnot. And until
right.
obviously the populations is
Well, we want
more
like it's
common than I can have, uh you know, I can relate.
well, it's because our elephant wants to like we want to use our elephant like there are, you know, that survival instinct, you know, that we never get to use every like it because it's harmless, right? We know that we're not actually gonna die in a haunted house or something like that, but like you feel like you are. So like you can't. The point of why I was giving this example is like you can't control that, and you shouldn't. Like as a matter of fact, you shouldn't. Just if you're gonna go on a roller coaster, just let your elephant like freak the fuck out, because it should. That's what that's designed to do. It's designed to freak your fucking elephant out. Like a haunted house is designed to freak your elephant out. You know, like
But
so
that's
just
that's the thing for me. It's like, you know, there's no reason why you want to, you know, freak that elephant, because
I mean, sometimes it's just funny, you know, like and sometimes your elephant just needs to be trained. I don't know. Like but the what I was getting at with this whole reflection though, for every other emotion out there, like
Mhm.
you literally all you have to do is just wait 90 seconds. Put a clock on it. You know, this was in the month when I was doing my stop, spot, and swap challenge. And like that's basically the whole point of it is like recognize when something's happening, like wait 90 seconds or so and swap it out for something else. Like, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, it is hard, like, but you have to train yourself to do it. And it's not like
Right.
I'm
I mean,
great at it.
I think that's the same. It's the same concept as the what you say from the space between stimulus and response is
Yeah.
freedom to choose. I mean, to me, it's not about do or don't do. It's about did you want to do that, or did somebody press you into it? Because
Did
like
your
I can
elephant
go,
just act? Like, was the
yeah,
emotion
exactly,
making your elephant just act? Or
right,
or did you process that emotion and say, I'm gonna choose this,
right. Because the thing is, let's say I want to punch you in the face, right? Did you press me to punch you in the face, or did I choose to punch you in the face? So that's to me is the big difference. The
yeah,
big difference is that if you choose so, that's good. If you
mhm,
don't, that means that somebody controls your emotions and make you act, and that's
I
bad.
agree.
And a lot of people allows the elephant to do that, but that means that you're not training your elephant. Your elephant is not trained the way that according to you. It's trained according to its genetics, its conditioning over the
Right.
eons of years, like what how it behaves in the past and how it continue to behave. And so when you that's why for me is when you watch these movies and let your elephant act out, it's like I mean it's the same emotion that evokes whenever you had some kind of a life in danger events in the past.
Right.
Um, but the thing is, it's not like today you don't have life and danger events. It's just that it's not as common as before.
Right.
But it's one of those things where you don't need to feel it. You don't need to experience it.
You
I mean,
shouldn't. I mean, there's no reason to let
most people like the thing is for me is like, oh, you gotta experience something once. Like I don't want to experience, getting poison ivy. I don't want to experience getting my head chopped off. I don't want to. I don't want to
right.
experience. Yeah, there's something I want to experience. So experience isn't everything. Okay, it's about what did you choose to experience it, or you choose to act on certain things. To
Right.
me, that's where I draw the line. It's about are you in the driver's seat or somebody is driving it for you? If that's the case, then to me, it's life doesn't have a lot of meaning if that's the case because somebody else is living life through you
Yep.
versus you living life.
Exactly. And like this is, I think the thing with her, with Jill Bolte Taylor and this book in particular, and why she makes a point of this, and it's an important point, is she now spent so much time she spent so much time before in her life, and like society is just left brain dominated, like that just is what it is. So everybody kind of knows what that looks like, because we live in that every single day, and that's typically where you're going to be nurtured into and understand the best. Like, we don't live in a right brain society for the most part. I don't know if there is societies out there in this world that are right brain dominated. I'd be curious to like explore that a little bit to see what that might look like. But to her point was she spent so much time in that right brain mindset, that she felt that she could flip back and forth easily between, like, when she would experience emotions, like as she retrained herself to come back into this world and bring her brain back online for like full capacity. Like, she also remembered, oh, I can literally kind of flip this thing back and forth when I want to, and I can change my perceptions of what's going on at all times. And I think I think you and I both know this, like, at easily, like at this point in time, that you can just totally change your perception. I mean, like it's like it's we were talking about yesterday when I was talking about getting stranded in Houston, having to go to that hotel, and then I see that young boy that was like maybe 10, 12 years old or something like that in the wheelchair, that's like, talk about feeling his energy. Like, I mean, he just looked scared and nervous, and he was shaking, and I don't know if that was his everyday thing, but he just looked uncomfortable, and he looked unhappy, and he looked like, I just want to go to bed and, like, and be somewhere safe and protected. And like, I'm seeing that, and I'm going, you know what, like, is this really that big of a deal? Like, is this really the worst thing that could ever happen? I watched my daughter pass away in my wife's arms. Is getting stranded in Houston with a free hotel and having to wait, in line for 5 minutes to get a room key or something like that? Is that really the worst thing that could happen in this world? But my point of what I'm getting at is like, it's I can control the reality of this. I was still with my wife. We were still on an adventure. We were still exploring. We were still, having a lot of, like, I mean, it's easily, it's very easy to train yourself to do that. It's hard to remember to do it though sometimes. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, you're right. This is something we've talked about a lot in the past. Like, this is the space between stimulus and response is your freedom to choose from the 7 habits. I mean, we've kind of had a similar reflection to this multiple times, but I think this really like hammered it home for me of like her saying like I've done this like in my head, like I know you could do this all day long. Like I literally was flipping back and forth. I'm like, and like we can do this. Like I mean, we really can, and I don't see why people don't try. You know.
So the thing is, I mean, for me is I think a lot of times, um, we are controlling our elephant in the wrong way. So I imagine like you driving a car, right? You're the elephant driving a car. I'm in the back seat. I'm the rider, right? And I am telling you how to drive or how to move your legs, whatever, because I am supposed to only give you instructions,
Right.
not do it for you. As the elephant, because the elephant is the big gigantic thing, it has to move its own legs, it has to move its own
Yeah.
trunk, it has to do whatever. Right? So you imagine like doing like me and you in a physical car, you driving, and I am in the backseat. I'm telling you what to do. Does that annoys you?
Of course. Yeah. I mean,
Exactly, because
I gotta
let
perform. I gotta act. I can't. I need
let
to be
me do. You
distractions
say
free.
let me fucking do my job. Tell me
Right.
where you want to go. Don't tell me go left. Don't tell me change lane. Don't tell me
Right.
this. Right. That's what we're doing to our elephant today, which is you are trying to tell the elephant to do everything that it is supposed to do. So you're supposed to train the elephant and let it does its job based on its ability to perform that job. So it's about training your elephant to do the thing without thinking.
This I think that's a little off of this one because this is more about training your rider. This is your rider can act when there's time, like to act, right? Like sorry, your rider can get engaged when there's
Right,
time.
right.
You know, when they're not when the elephant isn't performing something, when you're not like the point of what this reflection was for me is like when I'm at a theme park and I'm getting shocked left and right, you know, on a roller coaster or in a haunted house, I don't have time to think. You know, like that's the point of it, right? Like I just need to let my elephant be my elephant. When I'm on a tennis court, I don't have time to think. Like I just have to act, right? Like, and that's when the elephant is supposed to be at their best. In this scenario, though, with the 90%, 99% of the emotions that we receive, you know, and stimulus that we receive, like we do have time. Like, is the point? Like we have time to stop and let your rider process this and to figure out what message do I want to send back to my elephant of action that we want to take here, you know, and then let the elephant act, right? Like that's the whole point of what I'm getting at with this whole thing is like this is the rider's time to shine. Like the rider's time to shine is when you have time to think. Like and for most emotions we think we don't have time to think, but that's not true. It's actually it could be further from the truth. Like almost every emotion you receive on the course of a given day like does not require immediate action. It doesn't. It just it like I mean you agree or disagree? I mean like there's like what
Yes, so I agree to some extent. The reason why I say that is um because thing is regardless of what you do to the elephant, if it doesn't know and you are deciding, let's say you decide to see in a different perspective, right? It can't just do it. Because I told you before, if I were to have a time machine and go back to tell my 20-year-old self, hey, this is the life lesson, he would not listen to me because he has not been trained yet. So whatever thought that I can give him, because he has not been trained yet, it will not work. So that's what I'm saying is there is like a yin and a yang in this thing where you have the when you say peace is only a thought away, only if you have some sort of an open mind first. If you
right.
don't have an open mind, then you can't do it. The peace isn't going to work in that scenario because the elephant isn't listening. So that's what I'm saying is when you're too micromanaging your elephant, it gets to the point where it's so you know, uh, peeved out in terms of I don't want to listen to you anymore. I only want to do what I want to do. So the elephant, for example, like I said, for me, I like a certain thing, right, in a certain conditions. and you like something opposite. So a thought isn't really matters in a sense of, okay, is it that different for this person versus the other person, right? Because whatever it is, the affinity of that person, that thought, as long as it's aligned, it's gonna bring him peace, right? So even if he changes it, but he's refused to acknowledge that change, it's then going to bring him peace. Because the thing is, a lot of times you can't override the elephant emotion, even if you tell him to do so.
Yeah. I
Is
mean, like,
that, does that make sense? Because the thing is, there is two
that's
parts to it.
but that's kind of, it doesn't actually kind of make sense to me, only because what I'm getting at is what she's saying is in 90 seconds your elephant will forget the emotion, the stimulus that came in. Your elephant is primed to act always on an emotion. Like that's what it does. Like, and if you just wait 90 seconds before, if you train your rider to tell your elephant wait 90 seconds, and then you can do whatever you want to do after that. Like, most of the time that whole entire stimulus is gone at that point in time. Like, it's completely different. Like, she's saying the emotion will pass. Like, it's whatever the
Right.
physiological,
I
like,
think I agree with that. I agree with that aspect. I just don't agree with the saying that peace is only thought away. That is on a second level.
that's the next.
They
Yes, that's once the
Yeah.
motion passes, then it's okay, Ryder. What do you want to perceive of this? Kind of
Right.
thing. Like,
But
then let the
what
rider
I'm
take over.
saying is that the peace only thought away can be achievable only if you train your elephant to accept some of these suggestions from the rider. Because
Right.
in the beginning, like it can't. So I agree with Jill. It's like when she say, if you basically hold off on your action for 9 seconds, your decision to act is gonna change because you don't. Let's say I want to punch you in the face only because you did something to me and I reacted in a way.
Right.
I felt bad afterward because it wasn't you didn't
Right.
deserve it. Whatever you did, maybe you did it on accident, maybe it was supposed to be a joke or whatever, it was an accident or something like that. And I reacted. And so most of the time that's the case where the emotion, if you allow yourself to process emotion, your action is going to be more in line of who you really are versus
Right.
the heat of the moment.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I agree with Jill. The piece is only thought away as far as today's reflection is that is possible only if you get to the point where you are able to see some of the other side, like I did. Because, like I say, I was so stubborn when I was younger that I don't care who tells me. I don't care if you're like fucking Einstein. You can say, "Hey, come to me," and say, "Hey, I don't care who you are. Don't, I don't believe you." And so
Right.
there's nothing you can get me to say because I don't know what I don't know until
Right.
I know that, hey, there's more I don't know than what I know. Then when Einstein would say something, well, maybe I can consider. I'm not gonna say, nah, this guy is a bunch of BS, right? And
Right.
I just like brush him off immediately. That's the thing is whenever you get to the point where you experience the other side of the your brain and you say, well, there is other ability, just like for me, for run one for trains and the other one downhill and all these saying that we have learn over the course of the journey.
It's training
that
your
gives
elephant to, yeah,
that
yeah.
gives
It's a
me some
training your
room.
rider. Right.
Well, it's both. You
Right.
have to train the rider to act in a certain way. You have to train the elephant to say, well, how do I behave in a certain way? Because even if there's emotion, right? Because emotion is what trains the elephant. So the thing is, the emotion is what the elephant puts out, but the emotions also trains the elephant. Because if you think that you're scared all the time, then your elephant's gonna think that's what you want it to do, and they
Yeah.
continue to do it.
That's called a panic attack. It's what, and you get worse and worse and worse. Like, in every
Exactly.
situation's a trigger, and then your elephant gets trained. Like, hey, we just got triggered. And then your elephant's like, oh shit, start the heart pumping, start to sweat, start to panic. Start feel like you're at an amusement park where you're getting ready to go down a roller coaster while you're sitting in an office, in a meeting room with like people that are drinking lattes, and you're like, why am I feeling like this? Like, why is my adrenaline, like, what is going on with my elephant? But you're right, like that emotion, that feeling has now triggered your elephant automatically to go act, which is literally what a panic attack is. And then your rider gets all freaked out. You're like, oh my God, like we are dying. And the elephant's like, we are dying. And we're like, we are dying. They're both like,
Right, because
freaking
that's
out of
the thing
hell.
is that sometimes the elephant will kill itself because it behaves in such a way. Just
It's
like,
tra- it's trained, you know, it's
like
trained to,
for example, like internally your system will attack its own self, right?
yeah.
This is called we call this the immune what's it there's immune disease when your immunity attacks itself.
Autoimmune.
Autoimmune
Yeah,
disease,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those things, right? That means like your body is actually killing itself because it get into this cycle. You're gonna have to stop the cycles from initiating, from activating. That's what I'm saying is it's sometimes it's a subtle line between the emotion because emotion is like an indicator to the rider, but it's also the way the rider trains the elephant because the rider takes the emotion and doesn't process the emotion. You are training the elephant to become to say, hey, that is acceptable or isn't acceptable, whatever, however you want to say it. Because
Right.
if you say, hey, my life sucks, right? And the emotion is a bad emotion. You doesn't matter if you win the lottery, it's still your life still sucks because that's the way you've been training your elephant to feel the feeling. Like, just because hey,
Yeah.
my life sucks because before I have no one even bother to hang out on me, and now I have a billion people trying to follow me, trying to say, I can't have either way because you train an elephant to act that way. Because how can you have peace if you have trained an elephant to evoke the emotion? The emotion
Yeah.
is what causes you distress,
Good.
right? Because for me, if your heart are already racing and elevating all the time, right? That isn't really the emotion that as a person as a unique person that I am, I don't like that emotion. Some people may like that emotion, may have that
Huh.
affinity and alignment with that emotion, right?
That it's actually funny. That's actually how when I started having panic attacks is how I stopped having panic attacks because I was like, man. Eventually, I was like, I just embraced that feeling, and I was like, it's kind of cool to feel like I'm like can go like lift a car right now. I was like, I feel like I'm like the Incredible Hulk, like my heart's pumping, my face is flushed, like it's like you literally just feel like this wave of like warmth and like power come over your body when that happens, right? And you're and I was kind of like, whoa, like like this is cool, like eventually I taught this is no joke, I taught myself to like that emotion, and to like that feeling versus be scared of that feeling, and that was eventually how I stopped caring about panic attacks, because when they happened I was kind of like, yeah, bring it on, and then finally my elephant eventually was like, all right,
Right,
he
you
doesn't
training your
care anymore,
elephant.
yeah,
You're
right.
training your elephant because the thing is
But
whenever you tell an elephant this is the bad thing and that emotion is
right,
a bad emotion, eventually it's going trying to avoid that emotion. And when the emotion comes in, it overreacts and it will, like I said, it shuts itself down. Just like
right,
I told you about the autoimmune disease, is your body attacks itself, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
And that's the key to training the elephant because you can't speak to it as if you speak to another person. You have to speak
right,
it into emotions. So emotions to me, it's what you give it, but it also gives back to you because like I speak to you in English, you speak back to me English. So it's about the emotion part. Emotion is like these particles that go back and forth between the rider and the elephant. That's the channel of communication.
right,
So if you continue to label something as like bad, every time you see it, you say bad, right? You have a negative feeling about something. It's always going to avoid it, and it's going to cause you to have anxiety, have to have panic attacks, or whatever the case may be. You say, hey, maybe I'm allergic to money, and so whatever you can train your elephant to say, hey, money is evil. You will never have money because then you avoid money.
right,
You will avoid money because that's what they do. It's hey, money is evil, money is bad, blah 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 blah, right? Money kills, right? When you have money, people kidnap you, blah blah. You teach the elephant, you train the elephant to have these emotions, and it will avoid money. Or the opposite of it can happen. Like, hey, there is money, right? And money can give you leverage to do other things, blah blah. And
mm-hmm.
then money is money to the elephant attracts to money. They say, hey, money
Right,
is a good thing. It will go and it'll find ways to get money.
right,
Versus the other way, right? That doesn't matter. You can win a lottery and you will lose the money
yeah,
because
right.
you're
That
you're
happens
afraid of
all the
money.
time. I mean, I think like
You're afraid of money.
Yeah, right,
You
yeah,
train your elephant to be afraid of money
right.
because
Or not understand it. I mean,
well, that's the thing is if you afraid of money, you don't want to understand it because you push it away every time you get close to money, you avoid it,
right.
right? That's what your elephant does. It avoids it. So if you avoid it, how do you know about it? So that's why I'm saying when you win a lottery, what do? You go, you stash it in your bedroom, or you put it into your whatever, and then
Or you
something
spend it
happens,
all, you know,
right?
really fast and get rid of it. Yeah,
You get rid of it, right?
right.
And the people who the elephant loves money say, hey, money is a friend. Let's invite it to do something. Let's do whatever, right? And money just comes just because you're not afraid, you're not avoiding it.
Right.
Right. So it's just an example. I'm saying, hey, the emotion you tell your elephant, it is important. And so having the ability to process emotion and get them to, like I said, you can't really micromanage the elephant, and you can't really um ignore the emotions either. So emotion is one of those things where it's very subtle. So you have to take it to, process it and tell an elephant, hey, this one is good, bad, or whatever. You
Yeah.
are basically the decision maker. You don't actually tell them how to do things. You tell them what you need. I need you to take me to the airport. You need to do whatever to get me this place or whatever. You just need to give it the directive, and it will find ways to do it for you because that's its superpower.
Right.
It is like 110,
And,
a thousand times better, much faster than you.
and all you got to do is wait 90 seconds. Like literally, wait 90 seconds. If you have an emotion, wait 90 seconds. Like unless you're in a haunted house, where you're getting like, or on a roller coaster where you don't have 90 seconds. You know what I mean? Like that was like there's certain times in life when you don't have the time, and that's when let your elephant just be your elephant, right? But if you have the time, just yeah,
Your elephant has to be the elephant all the time. It's about trying to train it
to
whenever
give it to get
possible,
to
and so
pause,
you
yeah,
cannot go and carry the elephant. You cannot carry the elephant. The elephant has to carry you 100% of the time. Okay,
right,
it's saying how you ride an elephant. The elephant cannot ride you. Okay, so you cannot be the person on the ground walking and
right,
carrying an elephant. You cannot do
yeah,
that. You have to ride the elephant all the time. So the elephant has to do its job all the time. It says you have to train it to do its job well. If
yep,
you don't train it the right way, then it's not gonna like the way do it. Just like you don't train an elephant in the correct way, and you yank his chain or whatever, and it hurts. It's going to get frustrated, and it's going. I mean, think about it. I say, think about two trainers: a good trainer and a bad trainer, right? A good trainer trains the elephant in a more rewarding way. Kind of get it to in the right uh, that aligns with the elephant. The other trainer where you whip it, you yank it, you put like you know like nose rings or whatever on elephant, and you yank it to steer, right? So you imagine that elephant versus the other elephant. Whenever something happens, which elephant do you think will perform the best?
yeah. I mean, it's clearly the
That's
one
so
that,
that's
yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying is
yeah,
humans are exactly like that when you have two brains. Is you have to train an elephant and let the elephant act on its own accord based on its training.
right,
It has been trained for this. This is what we're saying is it has been trained for this, meaning that you have given it the solutions, the blueprint of how to do certain things in a certain situation, and it will do that super effective.
right.
That's what
I
it
agree.
does.
Yeah,
Like let's say you play tennis, right? You train your arm to whack the ball without even thinking about, and you
it's
can whack it into the right corner, and you can decide like you can split second decide what corner you want to whack it into. You
yeah,
think about a novice, right? A person who has not trained an elephant yet. How do you think that person's going to return that ball, that fastball, even that fast, even a loft ball, right? For that person return it into the corner it wants.
yeah, yeah. No,
It
no,
it, it doesn't it doesn't work. So you
it's
cannot carry the elephant. The elephant cannot ride you.
it's funny you say that because like and this has got to be like my final thought because I got to go to bed because we're getting pretty late tonight. I told you like I'm stretching my shoulder. I was just icing it right beforehand. Like I was playing a tennis match tonight, and I have a tennis match tomorrow, and my shoulder's all fucked up right now, like really bad. and like my poor elephant can't do what my elephant wants to do. Like this is the saddest thing that I've ever experienced in my tennis playing life at this point in time. Has been the past couple months where I've been so injured that I can't the stuff that my elephant wants to do. I physically can't do it. So like today, like my rider, like I felt like crying, like, you know, because I was like, for my elephant, you know, because I was like, I feel so sorry for you, elephant. I know what you're trying to do. I've never experienced this before in my entire life playing the sport, where I'm like,
I mean, you think about having the elephant with the a nail on his foot, and he's trying to step on it and go boom, boom.
exactly.
And
That's
it's like,
exactly. Yeah.
I want to walk and I want to put my foot down, but I can't because you have a nail under my foot.
I mean,
That's what I feel
it's
like.
brutal. I mean, it's fucking brutal. Well, the worst part is like I'm not so debilitated that I can't move at all. It's just that I can't. My elephant can't do what my elephant has been trained to do and wants to do. So like I have to, like, honestly, like right now, for until I can figure out a longer term solution for what's going on right now, and get this back to like healed. Like I got to figure out how to play it differently, and my rider needs to like have a conversation with my elephant, and we need to figure out how can we play pain free stuff that we can do, even if it means we lose matches. That's fine. But like how I need to rethink, you know, and reprogram a little bit right now of our strategy of like what my elephant naturally is going to do. And I started to do that a little bit in the second half of the match, and it started to work to a certain extent, but I couldn't maintain it. But like my point of what I'm getting at is like I've never experienced this before, where I just can't do like what my elephant wants to do. I literally physically can't. It's not that I can't play or run or do whatever. It's not like I'm crippled or something like that. It's not like my foot is nailed to I'm not like playing with one arm, you know, like, I mean, it's not like that's the scenario. I have an arm. I just can't use my full functionality of my arm. So like my poor little elephant's like going like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, you know, and I don't know. And I honestly, my rider is like confused too. So like we were both having a breakdown out there where we're both like, I don't know. Like, you know, like, I mean, I felt like I was just, everybody was just, you know, in my head was like, just like sad, you know, we're all going, I don't know. The rider's like, I don't know what to do. The elephant's like, I don't know what to do. Like, you know, like, and I'm like, oh, fuck, like, you know, this is
I haven't been trained for this.
right. I have not been trained for this. Like, I mean, honestly, like that's exactly what it is. I have not been trained for this. All right. I gotta go to bed because it's getting pretty late. So the question we can leave for everybody for this one is what might you find if you waited 90 seconds for a motion to pass before engaging, you know, going forward? I think you'd find you're able to control a lot more of what and process the way that you want to process and align to your values and feel like you're more balanced, you know, versus just letting these emotions, like, you know, just shove your elephant all over the place. So I mean, personally, like, I think this is a great reminder for myself to wait 90 seconds, you know, like it's really just 90 seconds. Like, it's not that long. I know it actually seems like it's a really long time.
It probably doesn't require 90 seconds. Probably require like maybe 5 seconds.
Good. I mean, depending on
most emotions that you act out like in the heat of the moment takes 5 seconds. When you blurt out something that you didn't meant, right? You felt regret right away. It's like that's 5 seconds
immediately.
So
like,
for 90 seconds, it's very to me it's a long time for the rider to even process emotion and give it back to the effort. Say, hey, you know, this is what I think it is. You know, you take it and you process in this way. And to me, you know, 90 seconds is plenty of time. I think if you can give a 90 second for everything that you do, I think it's gonna make your life much less miserable. You're
I agree.
gonna have less self-inflicted misery.
I mean, it reminds me of, because this was when I was doing that spot, stop, and swap challenge. Like, and you know, like we talked about this with like the washer, and you go down to the washer machine and you're like, you know, you open it up and you're getting ready to put a load of laundry in, and you see, you know, your wife left a load of clothes that are wet in the washer, and you're like, you know, my immediate first thought is, the emotion that always comes to mind is like, what the fuck, you know, it's like why would you do this, you know, like, and like, I mean, this is exactly the
but another thing that I noticed is that the moment that you act into you go into your action, that action takes up the time, so you're not even processing it whenever you're acting out.
It's just immediate, right? Yeah, it's almost like compulsory, you know.
So the thing is, in the time where it takes you to act out, right, you don't process anything until after you stop acting out.
Yes.
So whatever you did. So that's what I'm saying is, if you allow just 5 seconds before you act out. It will allow you to have enough information to process that before you even act out, right? If you wait 90 seconds, means that you can act out like, hey, you let the emotion go through, meaning like let the emotion go through and you act like, say, what the fuck, do all that, right? You
Right.
do that for like, I probably do that for like 10, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You don't
No,
do.
you'll get
I
tired.
mean,
You'll get tired of. I
it's
mean,
not like you go
yeah.
on and you rant for like
Right.
a minute and a half. Right? A minute and
That's
a
a
half
long
is
time
a
to
long
rant.
time.
That's a
I mean,
long time to rant.
so even
Yeah.
even you mad at your wife, right? You probably get mad at her for like initial 10 seconds.
Oh,
So
for
what
sure.
the
Yeah.
fuck? Why would you do that? Blah blah blah. Right? So you preoccupy for the next 5 seconds, ten
Right.
seconds
Right.
of whatever you're acting out until you stop. Right? Because for me, I mean, at least for me, I can't say for everybody else. At least for me, because I'm a linear thinker, so I can't think when I'm acting out because
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
don't
agree.
have
Yeah.
process it until I at first acting out, then I stop yelling or cursing or whatever it is I do. And then I process it. And then I say, well, shit, I think I will do that.
Yeah, that's not a big
But
deal. Like, you're
right.
like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, all right, well, it's okay. Just move the laundry and like move on. No, I agree with you. I think that is a good point. Like, I'm not of the proponent of. I'm kind of actually of the proponent of let the action happen. Like let your elephant just react. And then like you said, it's not going to last for forever. Just let it and then process it, right? But
But
like
some actions you can't take back because
I know.
you blurt out something that you can't take back, right? Or you, like I said, if you say something and press my button, like it will take me less than a second to punch you in the face.
That's true.
So I can't take it back. The only thing I can say is I'm sorry. It hit the moment I
That's
swung.
fair. Well, I guess then maybe do your best to keep it in your head.
That's
Maybe
what I'm
that's what you
saying.
think.
That's what I'm saying. It's okay to let your emotion act out, but I think it's better if you wait 5 seconds, or even a split a second before you
Before you
act out.
speak. Before you speak.
That
Yeah.
I'm talking about speak, like because a lot of people will blurt out something they don't mean.
Yeah.
Most people do. I mean,
For
to
sure.
be
I do it all the
honest,
time.
most
I mean, yeah. I
right.
mean, that's my immediate reaction is always to be like, I just let it go. I'm just like, whether no matter what I'm doing, if I get frustrated, I just say it, and I probably shouldn't. If I just waited 5 seconds, 90 seconds for sure, I wouldn't say anything, but yeah, no, I'm with you. I think
I mean, this is the same thing. Like this is what my wife usually do. I mean, it's not to be um to say that it's a right or wrong, but a lot of times like she goes driving, right? Whatever reason, it's like whenever somebody did something bad, right? She can honk the horn right away. I can't do it.
yeah,
I let it process. It's like whenever I say, well, okay, he needs to be there, so I don't know what happened. And Mom said,
right.
what did you honk at? Say, well, I don't need it.
I don't
What would
know.
I honk to, right? That's the
Yeah,
thing is she always honks the horn at the right time. I just can't do it. I was driving, right? And
yeah,
somebody cuts me or do something bad or whatever. It's like I would maneuver. I don't honk because I'm processing it. For her,
yeah.
it's like
I mean, I'm more like your wife then because I just would immediately like I just act and then I don't then I process afterwards. But like I should probably get better at that. But anyway, all right. So let's
pros and cons, right?
yeah, pros and cons for sure. Always something to work on. All right. So thanks for joining everyone. That was a fun conversation as always, and we will see you all tomorrow night for part 3 of 3.
Yep, sounds good. See ya.
Awesome.